welcome back to my channel. And for those that are new, welcome. My name is Jennifer. Today we're going to talk about the 6 books that I read in the month of January, the first month of the year for 2026. And so I want to start off and say that I did not DNF or did not finish any books this month, which is very exciting. I read all 6 books that are interested in reading. So I'm talking about a few different stats here to start out. So as I said, I finished 6 books. One of them was over 800 pages. And so that did take me a while at the beginning of the month to get started, and started that off for the 1st of January. And so, yeah, so I went ahead and finished 2 books that had over 500 pages. 2 books I finished that were between 300 and 499 pages, and then 2 other books that were less than 300 pages. So I had a good range in the number of pages that I read. The average star rating was a 4.29, getting very specific there with my star ratings. But yeah, so I'm very excited. It was a very good reading month. I did enjoy everything that I read. And so everything was 4 stars or above, as you can see with my rating there. So that's very exciting. So let's start off with the audiobook that I finally finished, which is The Keeper of the Lost Cities Legacy, which is book 8 by Shannon Messenger. I did really enjoy this one. It was great to see the main character grow and just become more into herself and her powers and her strength. And so I did really enjoy this one for sure. I gave it 4.5 stars, which is very close to a 5, but just quite not there. It wasn't my absolute favorite of the series, but yeah, I'm just kind of I'm really enjoying this one. I'm going to start the 8.5 very soon, which is Unlocked. And so that will be my next audio read for the month of February. And so, yes, I would highly recommend this series. I listened to them all from Audible. And so if you have not checked this out, the series yet, I would highly recommend it for sure. And then moving on to the nonfiction book that I finished this month is The Dressmakers of Auschwitz by Lucy Adlington. This is the second book by this author that I've read. I did really enjoy this one for sure. There are lots of images throughout this one, which breaks up some of the hard and harsh details of this story, but it's basically the dressmakers, the people that sewed to save their lives while they were in the Nazi concentration camps in Auschwitz, and all of that goes down, and everybody's support and love and guidance throughout this horrible time. And I don't want to ever forget. And so I just wanted to support those that, all of the stories and just keeping the story alive, which is very important. And so I did really enjoy this one. I'd highly recommend it. It's similar in the way that it reads and writes to The 4 Red Sweaters that I read by the same author, but this one is about the dressmakers and how they sewed for the SS wives, which is very interesting, and how they would put in orders, but then they would use the fabrics and threads and everything from those that were taken off of Jews. And so it's very interesting to see how they repurposed all of that, but then gave it to those in the armies in the SS concentration. And so, yeah, it's just very interesting read, and just getting to know these characters and what they went through. But also a lot of them are actual real people and their families and their stories. And the author does go to interview the last remaining dressmaker from this time and what happens with that story, and when she interviews her, which is very interesting tale to this and making it so real. So yeah, I really did enjoy this one. I'd recommend it if you're interested in this era, but more of a nonfiction, but it's stored in kind of stories, which is very compelling for me. It keeps me engaged. And so the next 2 books I actually checked out from the library, so I'm very excited about that, continuing my goal of using the library more for books that I want to read. And so let's talk about those 2 books that I checked out. I still haven't gone in physically, but luckily my library has a drive-through, which is very nice. I can schedule a time to pick up books, and so I've done that. And so I have 2 books to share with you that I read from the library. One of them is No Exit by Taylor Adams. And so, yeah. Oh, I didn't tell you what I gave the score for stars for Dressmakers of Auschwitz. I gave it 4 stars. It's a very compelling read. And so, yeah, I really did enjoy that one a lot. And so that's 4 stars. But moving back on to this one with No Exit, Taylor Adams. This one had come recommended to me as a thriller, and during a snowstorm at a rest stop, and a woman finds a girl trapped in the back of a van, and all of the stories that happens to save herself and also the girl. And so what happens with that story is very interesting. Lots of twists, lots of turns. I did really enjoy this one. I also gave this one 4 stars. I would highly recommend it if you have not read it. It's a very easy read, and so if you want something cold that during this cold weather, I would recommend Taylor Adams and No Exit. And then moving on to the second book that I got from the library is The Names by Florence Knapp. This is a heartbreaking tale of a boy that was born in 1987, which is a year after I was born. So a very poignant time period for me and growing up in these different decades. And so it's very interesting to see what happens if the mother named her son 3 different names, and depending on the name of the son, what the story involves and how the happens to the family members. What happens to the dad, the mom, his sister, and then also the grandparents of the mom as well, and also the dad's mother and father as well. So their grandparents on their dad's side, and what can happen all based on the name. Is it possible by the basis of that choice what stories unfold? I won't spoil anything, but it was definitely heartbreaking. Definitely check trigger warnings. There is definitely abuse in this, unfortunately, mentally, physically, emotionally. And so if you are not for that, I wouldn't recommend this one. But it was very interesting to see what happens. It does advance every 7 years, so which is very interesting, the choice of every 7 years and what that means for the ages of everyone, and then where they're at in their lives during those time frames. So I would highly recommend it. And yeah, so if you're interested I would check it out. Moving on to the book club book that I have with Patreon membership with Krista at Books at JM. We were reading The Correspondent by Virginia Evans this time, and so it is a set of letters that the woman Sybil writes to many different people throughout her life, many different ages of people, walks of life, and just what she gets up to grow as a human, and what she learns along the way, and what she learns from about herself and about her friends, her family, and what they learn about her and what she's able to portray and share when she's in her letters and when she's writing. And there is some email correspondence. There's but one of the mainly handwritten letters and what that means for everybody in her life. And so I really did enjoy this one as well. I gave it 4.25 stars, getting very specific there. It wasn't quite a 5, but it was definitely very compelling. It got emotional at times, definitely at the end and how it all wraps up. I won't spoil it, but yeah, it's definitely a good read. I did, when we were discussing it with our book club, that everybody really did enjoy the audiobook, which was very good. So if you'd rather listen to it, there is an audiobook for this one as well. And I don't think I shared about how many stars I gave The Names, but I also gave this one 4 stars. So there's 3 4 stars so far. And then again, The Correspondent is 4.25 stars. It is a good read as well. And then last but not least, the very first book that I started and finished for the new year is The Eye of the Bedlam Bride by Matt Dinnimann. This is the 6th book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. I just love that web and all of that on there. But anyway, it's very interesting. I loved this one. I did like it better than the 5th book. It might be my 3rd favorite, so in the top 3. And so my first one probably would be the 3rd book, the Anarchist Cookbook, and then the first one, Dungeon Crawler Carl, and then this one is probably my 3rd favorite. I did really enjoy everything that happens in this one. So much happens, and more keeps happening, and more story keeps being developed. So I'm excited to move on to the 7th book when I am ready for that one, and then hopefully read it in time for the 8th book to come out in May. And so I have just love this series. It is very dark, it's very humorous, it's very gory, and lots of battle scenes. And so I am just having a really good time with this series, and it makes me smile every time I talk about it, which I absolutely love. So those are the 6 books that I finished in the month of January. Hopefully you enjoyed hearing my wrap up. In the comments below, share with me what was one of your favorite books from January, or if you have a book recommendation for you. I love it for me. If you don't mind sharing it, I would love to hear it down below, based off of maybe Taylor Adams. Do you have another book by them that you recommend, or anything like that? If you're not feeling chatty, I love the support. If you don't mind putting in an icon for something orange for the I Love Bedlam Bride, for supporting me in everything that is happening for the month of January. I love everybody. This community is quickly growing, which is very exciting. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would love it. I would love to get to 100 subscribers. I'm so close to 100 subscribers, so if you haven't subscribed yet, I would love it. If you're not, if you already are, if you don't mind sharing out my channel with another friend that you think would love it, I'd really appreciate it. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye.